Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bob. Hold up.
We are back on the block here for a Wednesday of Sports Talk with you. I'm Jake Bachman. He is the Husker Hall of Famer and longtime NBA vet Eric Strickland. Strick, how are you doing today?
Hot.
It's hot out there, huh?
Hot. Mucho. Mucho heat.
Are you inside at least? Yeah, it looks
I'm
like you got
inside.
nice paint in front of a nice paint.
Yeah, I'm inside. So I decided not to do a balcony show, so to speak. But yeah. I'm in inside. You can see the sweat on my brow.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm the opposite. I in the studio and I get a little bit cold in here, so I threw on a jacket.
I see that.
So,
I know how cold it gets in studios too.
Sometimes
you got to come with the armor to get through a show. It'd be nice and cool, but you got to keep the equipment cool. So that's understandable. But today, we can be cold because it's hot and we on the block. It's hot.
It's hot on the block.
Some good topics today, man. We're gonna get into some of it. Definitely talk with Clester Johnson and Greg Hepburn today, just really about the AAU situation, kind of how things are going in the AAU space and how topsy-turvy and wild it's getting. To me, I'll tease it, but it's either is there a system error in the matrix or our parents going wild? I mean, I don't know, man. You remember the girls going wild? Shoot, I don't know. Right now, parents, coaches, referees, it's a whole
fights.
Man. It's crazy right now. And then people wonder why I stopped refereeing for a while. I was noticing it was getting kind of crazy. Just even being out there, even as a good referee, you can still experience just some of the wildness of how that goes. You know.
Yeah, there's been viral videos. I mean, the reason that we're kind of bringing it up is it's been a lot of fights and viral videos of the AU games or games like it, and it's just like it's getting out of hand. It's crazy. I mean, the refs in the middle of it, they're supposed to be
arbiters,
right? It's hard to tell too. I mean, you never know who's like throwing punches, who's protecting one another, who's starting it, and it seems like a hostile environment at certain times. So I can't wait to talk to those guys about that and what's kind of moving in that direction. We also have Steve Sipple joining us in the 5:00 hour, usually our Monday guest, but he's been taking some time as things are about to heat up. The college football season about to get going, especially here in the Big Ten. Of course, they've had the Big 12 media days, the SEC media days are going on right now. Big Ten will be next week. We look forward to being there as well and representing the ticket and having lots to break down, not just for Nebraska, but the whole Big Ten. And so that's kind of interesting. We'll jump into a little bit of, conference realignment is not too hot right now. There's no breaking news for me to jump on, but it certainly has rattled college football as we know it. And I think with all of that, it's going to be nice. We're starting to talk about on the field stuff. This has been a whole offseason of just NIL and all this different change in conferences. So it's going to be nice to get on the field here pretty soon. And we're getting close enough, fall camp and all that stuff to start talking about it. And so I can't wait for that. I did want to bring up this real quick with you because it is interesting and it deserves a shout out. Ben Ngoye, 6'3", 6'4" receiver here from Lincoln High, does have a Nebraska offer, but ultimately chose Iowa State. Now they weren't recruiting him too tightly because they feel like they've got Malachi Colbin in a good place with him. They've got a few other receivers in this class, and they just don't maybe have all the numbers. So he might have not been too high on their board. And obviously they've done a great job recruiting local Nebraskans in this class, and of course, kind of changing the narrative a bit, flipping the narrative from a few classes ago, and maybe still have some work to do in Omaha. But what do you think about having a kid in Lincoln at a skill position? I'm already kind of dumbfounded to see that because you don't usually see two Power 5 wide receivers in Lincoln. That will be kind of fun next year with Malachi Coleman and Ben Ngoye. But what do you think about watching him go out over there and commit to Matt Campbell and Nebraska maybe not recruit him in quite as hot? Do you think that this is a mistake, or do you think you take the guys regardless, and where you want them? If he's lower on the board, then so be it, even if he's a local kid.
Listen, I think they did what they did, and they put him out there, but they weren't pressed on him. I mean, I'm sure they stayed close to him. They talked to him. He was definitely in it. They would welcome him into the fold if he wanted to join. But as you said, they probably had their eye on Malachi, a lot more, being that he's there at Lincoln East and probably a little bit higher rated. I think the fact that they still put their hand forward is showing well. The thing that I'm seeing with Nebraska football is that I would love to see the same thing with Nebraska basketball. When I talked to Clester Johnson and even Greg Hepburn, when Chucky and that crew that was coming out, even Noah Fant and just the athleticism of that group, with now doing pretty well. He's doing well out there in Cal State Fullerton, and Latrell Ricel Jr. and some of the others that have been pretty solid kids, and they end up making their way out. Definitely Troud was one that I would have liked that we could have solidified, but ultimately that didn't happen. But I'd like to see them get a little bit more active in state. And as I always said, it's a fine line that you have to play when you're dealing with in-state kids. It's definitely something that is needed. And if you have a good balance of it, I think you'll have a solid core of a team to be able to compete with, and hopefully they'll be able to get back to that.
Yeah, I it's not a lead topic that I wanted to really get, but I wanted to at least shine some light on it, not in a negative way to say, well, Nebraska let this guy go, because they were recruiting him, and they it kind of fell to the point where it didn't seem like it was going to be a fit for them. But I still, like, anytime a Lincoln kid does good enough to go play at a program like Iowa State, it should turn your head, and it should make you kind of think, wow, that's pretty cool stuff from one of the kids here in the city. I did want to transition to this as we were talking about Big Ten Media Days around the corner, and it's maybe a little bit about ACC here, and Jim Phillips, the commissioner, kind of speaking and really just trying to be nice. The ACC's kind of been able to avoid getting picked apart so far, but it feels like that could be the last straw. In the latest talks, it sounds like the Big 12 and Pac-12 merger, which was kind of out there for a while, seemed that at least has fallen to the wayside at this point. And so maybe you could see, but a future of 4 power conference teams, maybe 5 power conferences. Of course, what's going to change over the years is going to be the amount of money that each power conference gets. The Big Ten and the SEC, their TV deals are going to get enough to give almost $100 million, if not over that, to each league member. Meanwhile, the ACC is they've got a new TV contract signed from a few years ago, but it only gives about $35 million per team. And so over the long run, you figure that's going to hurt, and that's what's going to make it hard for Miami or Florida State or Clemson, those teams that are competing for national championships, to let Alabama and Ohio State and USC and all those teams get that advantage, let alone Northwestern and Vanderbilt and Illinois and all the teams that don't have the brand but are still getting way more money than what you have out there in the ACC. So it's fascinating in that regard. And I was kind of interested in the fact that now, because all this kind of aligns with the college football playoff. How are we going to do the college football playoff in a landscape that's changing from year to year? And there was, of course, the vote last year where you could have had automatic bids. I mean, they were trying to pass a 12-team playoff, automatic bids to the 5 power conferences, and the ACC turned it down. Do you think that they will regret that moving into the future, considering that would have at least kept the group together, even if you do lose a few? Now you kind of wonder if you lose those top guys, those top names. Now these other conferences might not offer that sort of automatic qualifying bid. It seems like the movement, the momentum now is behind not having automatically qualifying bids, even if you're conference champions, because there's going to be such an imbalance in what these conferences look like and where the power teams are playing.
Boo hoo hoo! Woe is me. Listen, there was a movie back in 1986 called Running Scared, and it was Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal who played in it. And in that movie, they were cops, and they ended up almost losing their life in a battle. And they ended up going to the islands and resting their feet, and ultimately to get back in the fight to try to mitigate some of the issues of their past, right? Running scared. That's what I'm seeing with the ACC. But let's be honest about it. Let's be real. The ACC is the one that started the expansion craze about 2 decades ago. They're the ones that set it all in motion. So now to turn around, well, first of all, let me just tell you, they raided the old Big East where they took Boston College, Miami, and Virginia Tech. 10 years later, only to finish the job by pulling in Louisville, Pitt, and Syracuse, right? So you're the ones that did a lot of the poaching early on in the game. So to me, they're like tied to the big bully. They're the right-hand man of the bully, and they talk the most smack, and they're protected, and they're sitting alongside, and they're woofing because they know the big bully on the block has got their back. I.e., you had the Big Ten, the SEC, and the ACC conference, which you had this little mini pact or a little alliance between those, and that's why you had the Big Ten ACC challenge and so forth and so on. A lot of stuff that came out of that drew some money, but the word is, again, they voted against the 12-team plan. So what you're hearing him say is, can we all just get along? Can we, look, we're losing football, and we're not NFL light, and we just want to have everybody have parity, and we want the Northern Illinois to have opportunities, like everybody else, and you're only paying 38 million to your schools as of the 2021 season, and now the Big Ten and the SEC is stepping up, and they're doling out significantly higher, which putting you on edge. You wanted a long-term deal. That's why you signed your TV rights. You wanted to make sure the money was going to be there for the long haul, but you're stuck to 2036. So you didn't want to take the risk. You didn't want to get out there, have to negotiate each year, get into the fight, get into the fray. You wanted that long-term Scottie Pippen money. You understand? That's the same thing that happened to Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen basically said, I want him and his agent came to a conclusion. We want the long-term deal. We signed an 8-year, but you were undervalued yourself. Like inflation, you undervalued yourself. Yeah. And now everybody else is getting the big bags. You coming up short, you mad about it. That's what's going on with the ACC right now. They're stuck in a rut. They don't know how to get out. So they're trying to get the SEC and the Big Ten to try to play fair. But basically, the ACC schools now are looking up, and they're saying, they're basically like Jerry Maguire and Rod on
Rod Tidwell.
Rod Tidwell basically asking, show me the money. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, it is. Those long contracts are interesting. Obviously, those are popping up in baseball as well. Maybe factored into the reason why Juan Soto wants out is there. I don't know if they were offering him the money that he saw expanding over the years, what it would be if you sign those long-term deals and you're stuck. It looks great at the time. It gives you what you need as far as stability, but and who maybe would have seen this coming? I mean, certainly the USC UCLA news was shocking, but it wasn't as shocking as Texas Oklahoma. I mean, that changed the game. That let you know that this thing is heading toward a smaller, less conferences being the power conferences.
Yeah, and they have no leverage now, Bach. Like you said it. Their leverage is gone now. If you take into account what he said just at his press conference at the ACC media day, if you just take what he said about wanting that type of collective, everybody kumbaya come in and love on one another, then you wouldn't have voted against that, the 12-team conference. Because that would have basically that was a good parity to allow all teams to play in have an opportunity. That now goes out the window because now the Big Ten and the SEC saying, nah, we want the whole shebang. We want it all. Yeah. We want every team in our conference, if they can get in, we want them in. You know what I mean? So at this point, no more leverage, bro.
Oh, and it's just fascinating to see what happens to these other conferences. Again, the big pack, which we thought might be on the way with the Big 12 and Pac-12. There's still a few teams, Arizona, Colorado, flirting, at least reportedly flirting with the idea of still jumping ship and joining the Big 12. But as far as like a merger, that seems to be not on the cards. And I thought maybe that could make for, obviously a tiered system, but 4 power conferences. The ACC, I mean, it's strange to see how this all plays out. It's not going to happen overnight. Obviously after the UCLA USC movement, everybody's kind of thinking, okay, well, here's what's going to happen next. And here, and sometimes it takes time for these things to play out. I'm going to miss college football as it traditionally is, but embrace the fact that it's changing and these kids are getting, the NIL money that's probably long been deserved. You can argue about, should that top out? How do we control all that? And that's still another discussion that's kind of going on in the background here. But it's hard to envision some of these other conferences ultimately making it. And if they do, like I said, there's an absolute tier to it. And altogether, it's just going to continue to stack against them as these teams in the Big Ten and the SEC build the brand even higher. So I know they're signing huge contracts now, but when that next contract comes up, it'll be even bigger. Year after year, making $65 million more dollars than the other teams. How much is that going to help as far as NIL goes? How much is that going to help getting the best coaches, getting the best, facilities? Is maybe an older way of doing battle, but I'm sure it still will play into it with all, kind of nice things that are going to be put in all the Big Ten and SEC locker rooms and all that. Just absolutely fascinating to see how
here's something too, Bach, to think about, right? Because keep your eye on still the Notre Dame situation. That still hasn't played itself out. They basically laid out the groundwork. They want 75 to 78 million in order to stay independent. They knew coming in that yes, they can join forces and get up to 100+ million, but they feel that independent route for them, even with the openness now of the opportunities that may be shut down with joining a conference, it doesn't really mean anything. So they figure if they can get that 75, 78 million, 25 million, even less, to not even have to be affiliated with that, but still have opportunities to tap in on an expanded playoffs system. Shoot, who wouldn't do that, right? You're not legally bound to those parameters, and if you can stay independent. So I'll take 25 million less, but yeah, it's mine. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's something still to keep your eye on. What the TV rights that they have right now, would they be extended or what they're going to do with that? I think that's going to tell the tale as to what's offered and where then they would go depending on how that plays out.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is now the discussion is could the ACC stay alive by grabbing Notre Dame or the Big 12? But I mean, at that point, you're not doing equal revenue share. You understand, and Notre Dame would understand what they would do as far as stability joining a conference. So they're not going to join and split equal revenue with Kansas and Central Florida. They're going to take a large line share of the revenue, or at least get that 75 million that they're looking for. And who knows, once they break it down into conference play, what that leaves for everybody else. Or they can join the SEC, the Big Ten, still could do the same thing. They understand their brand, and I can't wait to see how that plays out. Is that, maybe they go to the Big Ten and say, yeah, you're giving out 100 million to everybody else. You better make that, make that 95 million to everybody else, and we'll bring, I don't know what it would turn out to be, how much you would take away from the others, but a larger share. And would the Big Ten be interested in doing that? Would the SEC be interested in doing that? Notre Dame on their own as a brand is just fascinating in this whole discussion, because they pretty much they could save a conference. They could stay independent. It's just amazing to see what happens. We'll take a quick break here on the block here, as we are excited to be joined here in just a second by Greg Hepburn and Calvin Johnson, or excuse me, Clester Johnson. Calvin Johnson's busy today. Clester Johnson and Greg Hepburn. We're going to dive into kind of what's going on with AAU basketball right now. Is it a system error or parents gone wild? If you've seen it, it's kind of gone viral. A lot of fighting going on there. And the AAU world has had its problem outside of the recent viral videos as well. So we'll break that stuff down, talk to those guys, former Huskers or parents of current athletes as well. Greg Hepburn, Clester Johnson, coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Did you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning into Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side.
Hello, everybody. Charlie Stone here. And through the years, as I've gotten to know Andy Goodyear, general manager of Honda of Lincoln, quite well, one of the things that I have really liked about Andy is you will always get honest, straight talk from him. Joining me now, Andy Goodyear. What's the latest news at Honda of Lincoln?
As I've said before, when you drive by Honda of Lincoln, you may not see the new vehicle you're looking for, but on the way, we have more than 300 new cars to choose from, so don't hesitate to stop in or go shop online.
I know that used cars are big right now. What can you tell us about it?
We have a great selection, Charlie. More than 125 to choose from. And what I want
Hey, good
people to
evening,
know,
everybody.
we
This
sell
is Eric
more
Strickland,
than
former Dallas
All
Maverick
makes
and
and
NBA
models, right?
veteran.
all makes.
I would like to
models,
welcome everybody
cars,
and all the
SUVs,
athletes and
trucks with
coaches.
Fresh trades arriving daily. If you're looking for something other than a Honda, we just might have it.
Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Seasons change, but your land stays the same. You need the right solutions to keep you moving. That's why you rely on Acres Equipment, your Nebraska-owned premier John Deere dealership. Whether you're harvesting, protecting your crops, feeding the herd, maintaining your lawn, improving your business, or letting off some steam, Acres has what you need to get the job
Good evening,
done.
everyone.
Acres
My name is Eric
Equipment.
Strickland.
Solutions
I want to thank you guys
for
for
every field.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels.
Good
that
evening,
someone else
everyone.
brought in.
Hi, my name is Eric
Everybody likes
Strickland,
the
former
first
NBA
person.
veteran,
Me,
Dallas
that
Maverick,
person.
16
Weekday
to
mornings
the
at
NBA.
7:30.
I would like to welcome all the athletes and coaches and teams that are being inducted tonight to the Columbus High Athletic Hall of Fame. You're all well deserved of this outstanding achievement.
You lost Monday. You
High
lost
school
Wednesday.
was the best time of my
Shut up,
life.
Sipple. Weekday
I
mornings
truly
at
enjoyed
7:30,
it as
brought
I
to
was
you by
inducted as
Bagels
well
and
in
Joe.
Nebraska. And you
Round
will be
Shipment has
inducted
all
tonight.
types of
It is
shoes
such a
for
great
you to
honor
excel this
for
summer.
each and every
Check
one
out
of
their
you
new
to
Clean and
achieve
Zebra
that
brand sandals
honor.
for hiking and Olukai sandals for sitting by the pool. Plus, they're stocked up on Hey Dudes to catch you up on the latest shoe
Good
fashion.
evening, everyone.
They
Hi,
also
my name
have
is Eric
brands like
Strickland,
Brooks,
former NBA
Hoka,
veteran
Merrill, On, and
with the
many
Dallas
more.
Mavericks
Browns
and
has the
a
local
few other
professionals
teams
to
as
get the
well
proper
for
fit,
almost
aided by
10
their
years.
high-tech foot
I
scanner
would like
by
to welcome
HM.
all the athletes and
Stop by
coaches
Brown
as
Shoe
well as
Fit
the
today,
teams that are
just
being
south of
inducted tonight to the
6062
College
in Lincoln.
High School Athletic Hall of Fame. You're all well deserved of this outstanding achievement and honor. High school was
The
actually
Salt
the best
Dogs
time
are
of my
back
life.
with the best
as I
lineup for a
too was
night
being
out in
inducted.
Lincoln, including Fireworks
But I would
Fridays.
also like
Every
to thank
weekend
you.
homestand at Haymarket Park begins with baseball and post-game fireworks set to your favorite music. Baseball, a big light show, and the best view in town. There's no better place to be on a summer night in Lincoln. Lead off your weekend the right way with Fireworks Fridays. Get your tickets at saltdogs.com.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Registration is now open for all fall sports leagues through Lincoln Parks and Rec. adult volleyball, kickball, softball, and youth NFL flag football. Competitive and recreational leagues are available, so whether you're an athlete, a former athlete, or a wannabe athlete, there's a league for you. Plus, check out their paid opportunities for officials and referees. Contact Lincoln Parks and Rec to learn more, or head to teamsideline.com/LincolnNE before July 24th to register your team. That's teamsideline.com/LincolnNE.
Pillar Restaurant Group is proud to announce the full opening of our brick-and-mortar venue-at-home store, Lincoln's new premier specialty grocers. This store is home to our brand new Butchery by Venue. Get the finest Nebraska steaks, hand-cut in-house by our butcher, prepared for our restaurants, and available for you to take home. With hand-selected specialty seafood, charcuterie, wine, bourbon, and liquor options. Come in today to see what we have to offer at 70th and Pioneers in the Pioneer Woods Shopping Center. Open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the block on a Wednesday, and we are excited for a new little special we're doing, and it's going to be called here AAU Basketball System Error or Parents Gone Wild, as things seem to be getting out of control a little bit in the AAU realm. So, Strick, with that, I'll hand it to you and let you introduce our guest for this segment.
Yeah, one of the things that I want everybody and our listeners to understand and know as well is that this is part one. This is not something that we would be able to address in one segment. We're going to try to bring others to the fold as well. But as of right now, we have two fathers that have been through the system, have watched the system in its early parts of its inception, where it started off in the smaller realm of it and then grew to become what it's become today. And these two gentlemen that are joining us are going to talk about it, and we're going to start the conversation. That are parents gone wild, or is this a system error? And can it be corrected? Can it be changed? Can it be adjusted? So joining us on the block right now, my two guests, Bach and I, on the block with Strick and Bach is Greg Hepburn and Clester Johnson. Thanks for joining, gentlemen. We appreciate you for taking the time to come on with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us. Appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. So first of all, I want to start the question as being a parent and watching both sides, both you. Let's start with you, Greg. Being a parent and a coach who operates in the system, seeing some of these dynamics from the beginning of its inception and now to where it's become today, taking your sons through it and getting an opportunity to also work with parents and watch and observe in different parts of the country, where you're starting to see this dynamics of tension in the air between coaches, referees, staff, and all these different things in these different locations. Is this a system error? Are the parents going wild? Or is it some part that can be corrected and be changed as we're dealing in the AAU space? What you think?
Man, that's a very loaded question, but as far as whether it is a system error or if it is parents, the answer is yes to both of them. I think it's a little bit of everything. I think that one, just our society, after coming out of COVID, just mental health issues and, behavioral issues that come out of it, that's a huge part of it, because in 2019, you had 19 to 20% of adults in this country who, were claiming to have had some type of depression or some type of anxiety-based illness. Well, during COVID, it spiked up to over 50%. And, as of last May, we're down to a little bit over 30%. So that's a significant increase. But then you take that and you throw it into the craziness that AAU has already, kind of manifested itself into, where you have officials who are not necessarily proficient in their craft, but still out there You have kids getting hurt. You have, unfair things that are going on because you have officials who don't really understand the game, but they're out there because of opportunity, from AAU programs or from, the tournament directors who are just trying to fill vacancies because of the demand that's out there, So you have those things, and then you have, the chatter going back and forth between parents on the sidelines, and then you have, kids who have these dreams and goals of, becoming a collegiate athlete, and a lot of them Division I athletes is what they're trying to pursue. And then parents trying to do whatever they can, to help them achieve that. And I think it's just a Molotov cocktail, for all these things that we've been seeing in terms of, parents fighting, players fighting, now officials coming into the mix and fighting back from over the past year or so being attacked, So I think it's just a perfect mix or medley for what we're starting to see. And then you add the element of social media to it, where it's easy access. And then, more importantly, I think that one of the biggest human needs is attention, and then, you have people that are getting attention. I think it's just a perfect formula for all of that.
So, yeah, Clester. So with that, being a parent also that has coached in the space and have watched coaches along those lines, do you feel, as you've watched your kids come through the system as well, do you think that it's a pressure that comes with trying to elevate and promote, as Greg alluded to, in the social media time that we find ourselves in, and there's an over promotion or an overhype to try to get your kid in there? And your brother is a referee, and so you have those conversations, I'm sure, about what they're able to put forth as well. Do you want to address that in a similar manner?
Absolutely. I'll double down on everything that Greg said. Obviously, I could see all of those things transpiring. Obviously, coming out of COVID and all of those things that can do to the human mind and the human body. But what I have really, there's no simple answer to this. There's no simple solutions. But what I've seen is the mindset, okay? The mindset of coaches, the mindset of the kids, and the mindset of the parents. Everybody thinks their kid is great. Everybody thinks they got the next Jordan. Everybody thinks they got the next, that next great kid. So when they send their kids out to play in these tournaments and these games, this is their world. Their world is poured into this. So their mind is telling them if they're wronged, if something is going wrong, you're doing something personally to me and my family. You're taking food off of my plate. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it ain't that serious. It really ain't that serious, because the mindset should be getting better, playing games, having fun, working on technique. And then on top of what Greg is saying, you got the referees who may not be as polished. So it's just, like you said, it's a cocktail of things going on at once. But I really feel like it's the mindset of the parents and the kids. They got to go in thinking, hey, listen, there ain't no rankings in the paper. We're not getting a scholarship tomorrow, especially with the younger kids. But I know some can, but for the most part, statistically, it ain't coming till you get a little older. As a younger kid, you need to focus on getting better and being coachable and listening to referees and just learning how to play the game.
So me being a former referee, I can attest that there is a lack of high quality referees in this space. And let me tell you why most of them don't do it. Is they don't want the headaches that come with dealing with also high school coaches that really don't also know the game. Because in the same manner, there's a lot of coaches, a lot of parents, They're doing it for the good of their kids or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of money that's involved in this space too. There's some money that comes with having these top tier AAU teams, so forth and so on as well. And so with that, they don't want to also, as a referee, deal with some of the lack of understanding of the game that they must deal with also, because there's not a lot of teaching and training in that. But I want you to address. Go ahead.
Knowing the game means something different to everybody. That's the thing. Everybody think they know the game, but they know it in their way. And I feel that when referees, the experienced referees will come to the coaches before the game starts and kind of will give an outline of what they're going to try to do. There's a lot of that is missing. I think a lot of that is missing in the game. Like, hey, we're going to let them play a little bit. We're going to watch this. We're going to do, and I just think if refs did that a little bit more, it would help.
I think too, when you're talking about that, I think that there isn't a lot of upfront work. And what ends up happening is there's not enough refs, so refs end up working long days. And it would be no different in any type of work environment that as you get later in the time of exerted activity, that your mind begins to fog. And it gets to a point where you just want to get through the game. And therefore, you're just letting stuff happen. And I think that's where a problem comes as well. When you're dealing with that. And so there needs to be a better solution in that space as to how to handle that, I think. One other question is, do you think that there's a lack of security? Because, let me just be honest. I mean, when I can see, for example, I can see and understand how the melee or what they call the Detroit, what do they call it? Malice in the Palace. I can see how the Malice in the Palace happened, because just 2 years or so before that, I was there playing with the Boston Celtics. We're walking out, we're beating the brakes off of Detroit in the second round before we went to the conference finals. We beat them, I think, 4-1. And next thing you know, I'm walking out the tunnel at halftime and somebody throws a beer on me, like just walking out the tunnel. So I almost climb up, just a reaction, just a natural reaction. So I can understand what Ron Artest, AKA Meta World Peace, went through. I climbed up and I'm about to go into the stands and I'm looking around. I'm like, where's security? What's going on? Like, I can see how stuff jumps off. Do you think there should be more of a security presence? I know you don't like to have that in that type of element, but I also see that there's a lack of security in these things popping up, because I've also heard that guns have been in different situations, been popping off. I know in Duncanville that happened. Tell me about that, both y'all.
Go ahead.
I think that, and we did at the venue that I was at this past weekend, there was a heavier security presence that I noticed from what I have seen even this past year. And I think that's a direct function of, the things that have been occurring. But I don't know that a security presence is enough. I think it's got to be a law enforcement presence, to be honest.
Right.
Because they're still going to act a fool, until they understand that there are going to be legal ramifications involved with it, that they're not going to be able to flee from or escape from as easily as if it was just a security presence. I think that's the first component of it, but you have to just kind of go back into, the mindset of what a lot of these parents are. Like, I think, both you guys hit on it. There are some security issues internally that people are dealing with. There are some, some lack of understanding issues that people are dealing with. And then, just not feeling security of, well, my kid's going to have this opportunity to play at the collegiate level. Because that's the other component of a lot of this, is that because coaches that are at the college level have the transfer portal, have, prep schools, and have junior colleges to defer to. Now the offers aren't coming as readily available for the high school level. And so that's putting, now we're now into really year 2 or 3 of this, because it really started with class of 21, 22's experienced it last summer, and now the 23's, are experiencing it. So, college coaches don't have to really concede those offers. And as a result of that, I think it's just creating a lot more anxiety, which is leading to a lot of this tension, and so, it's multifaceted, it's the COVID piece, it is, the recruitment piece, it's the mental health piece, and then the one you hit on, which to me is the driving force, is it's the financial piece, because, people are aware of, how lucrative it is to host these venues now. And so they are just putting these venues together. And I'm certain that, nobody goes into this like thinking, hey, there's going to be a fight, or, hey, we don't want there to be a fight, and these are the things that are going to have to happen. But they don't understand that the atmosphere that's being created is a direct correlation to that.
Cless, do you want to dig into this? Is this a depth question for you? Because if so, we'll take a break and we'll come back and let you tackle it. But if you have something you'd like to say before the break, that would be okay also.
No, we can take a break.
All right. Listen, hey, it's hot on the block right now. We're having AAU talk. Is it parents gone wild or a system error? We'll come back and listen. We would normally have shootout with Strick, but Strick don't want to shoot right now. I want to let this conversation continue. We're going to continue this conversation. We'll do shootout in the second hour, and we'll come back. 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Me, Strick, and Jake Bachman right here on the block. We'll be back after this.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Did you know that the U.S. has added over 1,100 new breweries in the last 18 months? Learn more by shopping at Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South, and by tuning in to Thirsty Thursdays with Kevin Myers, because sports are better with a drink in your hand and a friend at your side.
Pillar Restaurant Group is proud to announce the full opening of our brick-and-mortar venue-at-home store, Lincoln's new premier specialty grocers. This store is home to our brand new Butchery by Venue. Get the finest Nebraska steaks, hand-cut in-house by our butcher, prepared for our restaurants, and available for you to take home. With hand-selected specialty seafood, charcuterie, wine, bourbon, and liquor options. Come in today to see what we have to offer at 70th and Pioneers in the Pioneer Woods Shopping Center. Open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Saturday.
The Salt Dogs are back with the best lineup for a night out in Lincoln, including Fireworks Fridays. Every weekend homestand at Haymarket Park begins with baseball and post-game fireworks set to your favorite music. Baseball, a big light show, and the best view in town. There's no better place to be on a summer night in Lincoln. Lead off your weekend the right way with Fireworks Fridays. Get your tickets at saltdogs.com.
James Enterprise Incorporated, that company that hauls your gravel, rocks, and material for your farm or construction site, says thank you to the people of the healthcare community for putting yourself in the way of danger to save the public. That is what it means to be a hero and to build a beautiful legacy. This message brought to you by James Enterprise Incorporated. For all your hauling of rock, gravel, and materials, Call them at 402-432-6740. That's 402-432-6740.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Sunny skies, warm temperatures lingering on as we'll top out near 92. Wind should be light out of the north at around 10. Clear tonight, a low dropping down to around 66. The heat builds in further, though, as we get into our Thursday. Afternoon high of 97. Could be near 100 by Friday. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstoRats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on the block. E. Strick, Jake Bakoven. We had to let Kless go because, listen, my boy Kless has got the next. Look, so let me just say this real quick. When we used to play ball, and back in the day when we were growing up and we were all teenagers, Clester Johnson, number 33, Husker favorite, great wingback, one of the best ones to do it down there in Nebraska, blocking for some of the best in Lawrence Phillips as well as Amon Green. But listen, Clester has another one. His name was Tank. We used to call Clester Tank. That was his nickname. You know, so we got his son CJ. We got Cade. We call Cade Cade.com because he's like, you know, he just shows up on the internet. He got his own link. You know, that's we call him Cade.com, and we call Keegan Kilo G. And he's got Kai Johnson, little Kai Johnson, 4-year-old Kai Johnson, and he's putting him in the pool. So he had to drop off. He couldn't continue and answer that question. So we're going to continue on with G, because G, you're taking us deep. So we wanted to continue this segment, pass up on Shootout with Strick, man, because you can't do this justice in 20 minutes. You know, this is something that it has a lot of tentacles to it. And so we wanted to continue the conversation. Thanks for joining us for one more segment in this conversation. My partner Jake has a question for you, my guy.
Are you there, Greg? Let's double check. I'm gonna if you can keep it going, we're gonna try to get Greg on the line. I think because Plus hung up that Greg
we dropped. Yeah. Okay, that's okay. So what we've been talking about is system error, parents gone wild. We've been talking about security. You know, is there been a lack of security? Is there some things in these areas? We talked about the ramifications of the finances, the correlation between coach and referee, the lack of having quality in both of those areas. So that's what we've been discussing now. I think we have Greg back. So Greg, thanks for joining us on this continued segment, man. As I was saying before we got you back, is that it was tough being able to take care of this in such a small segment, 25 minutes, man. This is something that has so many tentacles to it, and we wanted to just make sure that we can continue this discussion while we have you here, because we think this is an important thing as we move forward. But my partner Greg you're Greg. My partner Jake has a question for you.
Yeah, I know you
Absolutely.
work with young people. Obviously, have a son of your own. How much training or talking do you have into the kids kind of understanding that there are going to be nights when the referees aren't very good, or they're not going to be the calls aren't going to be going your way? Because certainly that's part of basketball. And you know, you hate to throw away your career over getting frustrated on one night and doing something kind of silly.
Yep. No, I completely agree. And, that's something going into it that we do. We talk, we do a lot of pre-talk with kids at practices, pre-game, on the way to the game for some of the kids that are riding in the vehicles with myself or with, another coach. Just a lot of that stuff in terms of expectations, behaviorally. One of my things that I always say is that you take care of the plan, you let me take care of the officials, and in the past, that has been a pretty good format. Most of our teams that we've had, never, and really, to be honest with you, I've never had an issue with any of my teams in terms of fighting. I mean, there are some, players that I've had that have become disrespectful to refs, gotten technical fouls, but some of that is heat of the moment stuff, just that comes naturally through competition too, right? But the biggest thing is that, I think the lack of discipline from players' perspective, and I think there has been not, and it's not always, because there are some really, really high quality officials out there, and I should have said that, in the beginning, is that there are some really, really good officials that are out there to do a fantastic job, but there are some, who are just starting off with, that don't understand how to call the game. Like, there's difference. And I had that conversation with an official this past weekend. He was telling me, I was, telling him hey, your partner is making those calls, and so what I'd like you to do is to get together with him so you guys can be consistent in what you're calling. And he said, well, I don't care what he's calling. I'm not going to bail anybody out. And I told him that, you can't call this game as you are a player, because the rules of the game are different. And that's where a lot of guys who are just getting into officiating don't understand that component of it. So there's a judgment that's being casted in certain situations without understanding, the actual rules of the game. And I think that in those cases, or as you mentioned, the fatigue that comes into the set of officials from having to referee so many games, or just the lack of concern that I saw, from some guys, I don't care, I'm getting paid, I think those things factor in, to make it to where now parents or players just, that whatever that was that used to keep them, used to keep that boundary in place of, okay, I'm mad at this person, but I'm not going to physically attack them. I think that has what helped that line become obscured.
Yeah, great. G, I'm gonna tap in on that, because I'm gonna be honest. When I came in, it just depends on the level. So it's also who is bringing the referees, that is vetting the referees. That is an importance to it as well, because some of them are, like you're saying, are just throwing guys to the wind. Haven't been able to get into their book. Don't really know. Haven't probably even ref a varsity game. So normally when you see a lot of this, it's not normally at the top tier levels, because there's usually going to be pretty good refs there, right? It's usually in that mid tier. It's usually going to be in that 8th grade, 9th grade, where guys are still trying to figure out how the flow of the game is going and what to put whistles on. Okay, there's a foul down the other end 2 times ago. It was a charge. One looks similar at the other end. They don't understand the dynamic of how to mirror that, 3, or have play recall to remember that. And so I would say, for me personally, when I was refereeing, I always tried to make sure, and this is probably a detriment to the game, because instead of taking somebody on that is younger and working with them and helping them to understand these nuances of the game, I would want to make sure that I was working with somebody who could work, so that way my games go smoother and I don't have the headaches and I don't deal with the parents and the coach issue, because I'm working with somebody that understands those dynamics. So that's where it gets kind of messed up. Go ahead.
That was actually the situation. We had a vet referee, that was working the same, and there's other, they worked the same court all weekend long. And we played on that court probably about 6 times. And by the last game that we played in, you know, the veteran ref was like, man, I'm not bailing this guy out no more. And they had, you know, disagreement between the two of them, you know, because the younger guy wasn't making the right calls or would miss certain things, you know, and just that type of stuff that, you know, culminated in him being like, well, you know, basically forget him, you know, I'm going to get out here and do what I have to do, you know. And so it's a problem, man. It is.
Buck, anything?
We probably should take a quick break. I don't know if Greg can stick around one more, or if probably
I have time. Yep, I definitely do.
Yeah, we are up against it, so we better take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this discussion here. Greg Hepburn joining us for our little segment here, AAU basketball, system error or parents gone wild. We'll continue that discussion next year on the block on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Registration is now open for all fall sports leagues through Lincoln Parks and Rec. Adult volleyball, kickball, softball, and youth NFL flag football. Competitive and recreational leagues are available, so whether you're an athlete, a former athlete, or a wannabe athlete, there's a league for you. Plus, check out their paid opportunities for officials and referees. Contact Lincoln Parks and Rec to learn more, or head to teamsideline.com/LincolnNE before July 24th to register your team. That's teamsideline.com/LincolnNE.
Hello, everybody. Charlie Stone here. And through the years, as I've gotten to know Andy Goodyear, general manager of Honda of Lincoln, quite well, one of the things that I have really liked about Andy is you will always get honest, straight talk from him. Joining me now, Andy Goodyear. What's the latest news at Honda of Lincoln?
As I've said before, when you drive by Honda of Lincoln, you may not see the new vehicle you're looking for, but on the way, we have more than 300 new cars to choose from, so don't hesitate to stop in or go shop online.
I know that used cars are big right now. What can you tell us about it?
We have a great selection, Charlie. More than 125 to choose from. And what I want people to know is we sell more than just Hondas.
All makes and models, right?
All makes and models, cars, SUVs, truck, with fresh trades arriving daily. If you're looking for something other than a Honda, we just might have it.
Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank. A relationship you can count on.
Sunny skies, warm temperatures lingering on as we'll top out near 92. Wind should be light out of the north at around 10. Clear tonight, a low dropping down to around 66. The heat builds in further, though, as we get into our Thursday. Afternoon high of 97. Could be near 100 by Friday. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. Our pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself, and they let me know I can actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstoRats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
In your busy life, very little is free, but your next home might be a bit less than you think with a free appraisal from Security First Bank. Free home appraisals from Security First Bank. We're the bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Offer valid through December 31st, 2022 on secondary market new home purchase loans only. One free appraisal per transaction. Appraisals paid for by lender at closing. Subject to lender qualification. See lender for details. NMLS number 505011.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Ortega connoisseur, Jake Bakoven.
I like Ortega, and I like Pepper.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach.
That's one of my favorite times of the show is the WWE. You suck. But we don't suck on the block. We are cracking on the block right now. Great segment going on. AAU basketball. Is there a system error or is it parents gone wild? We took that from obviously the what we all knew. When was that? When was that popping? Girls Gone Wild. That was like what, 2010s maybe?
Maybe 90s, 2000s, yeah. VHS tape, I remember.
Yeah, VHS time. Yeah, but we have Greg Hepburn joining us on the block, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. And G Hep, man, we really thank you for joining us in this particular segment. I think that we heard a lot. We got a lot of information from one who is not only coached, but has also brought his sons through the system and has watched its progression from the early parts of the full inception of it. I mean, there's been AAU touches. We played in forms of it, but it wasn't to the magnitude that it is now. And so, so Greg, we really thank you for taking your time. I have maybe one more question, but I want to make sure Bach, if he's eluded all his questions, we'll just hold you for another 10 minutes, man, and then we'll let you go about the rest of your day.
Sounds good.
All right, yeah, I was just wondering, because you hear about AAU basketball too, and from the outside, what you hear is that these guys aren't able to be coached very well just because there's not practice time and all that. So it's more of an open court feeling. But as somebody that's kind of coached in there, how prepared do you think that this is as a team when you kind of get into that action, as opposed to just kind of a high school team that does have those extra practices?
Yeah, and so I coach high school and I coach AAU, okay. So I see the best of both worlds. And I think two things. I think one, it goes back to the financial piece, and you have some parents and some players who have a sense of entitlement that because I've played or because I've paid for, to be on this team, I'm going to automatically, get playing time. And I don't have to show up to practice, and so you have a lot of that, to where, players are either not showing up because, they're either working, they don't want to, practice. They'd rather be out hanging out with their friends and girlfriends, whatever the case may be. So you have that fact going into it. And then you have a group of kids there are still a group of kids that truly just want to be better athletes. They want to get better. They want to be coached. And I have several, within our program with Omaha Ice Elite that truly want that, and we provide those opportunities for them. But it's difficult when not everybody espouses that same mindset in terms of players and parents. So, what you have a lot of is the unfinished product on the court due to AAU coaches not having everyone at practice versus, high school, there's more practices throughout the week, and, there's more of a willingness to do those things. I don't know what the dynamic of it is. I don't know if it is that financial piece I mentioned or not, or if it's something else, but, you have a huge disproportionality in terms of their being at practice. And I speak to a lot of AAU coaches who kind of deal with the same thing.
Last question for me, G. Hep, before we let you go. What do you think we can do to make it better? What are a few things that you can lay out for us that can at least start the transition, hopefully, to be integrated? Obviously, you're dealing with multiple mindsets, right? Depending on how they feel about it, people running the programs, people doing the actual AAU tournaments, the way that they run them, so there's all those things. Do you think there needs to be a body that really regulates it, an NCAA type of body, not to say the NCAA, but some type of body to really regulate this thing? Or do you think like what are some things that we could do to really make this better in this space as we go forward, just to start the change? Because you can't do it overnight, but you got to just start the change. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic question. And sorry to jump in a little bit early because I got excited by you asking the question, to be quite honest with you. Here's the thing is that there is one, and it's the AAU. Like, it is an actual governing body, but what happened is that AAU outgrew the AAU. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there was so much demand, and so much opportunity to be able to do so. Now, I think that there are concessions that need to take place from all parties involved, and that's the athletes, it's the parents, it's the coaches, it's the programs, it's the tournament directors, it's the governing body, all of those things. Everybody needs to step back and make concessions. Every kid is not going to get a scholarship, and at the end of the day, not every kid is going to be able to play college basketball because the capacity isn't necessarily there. I truly believe that I can help a young man or young woman develop into the type of athlete that they want to be, but it's not for everyone. And that's the first thing that needs to, be understood. So, if you want to just, partake in it, that's fine. But at the same time, you also have to, have a realistic understanding, which could help temper some of those anxieties and some of the depressions that come, because here's a whole nother segment for you, and a potential case study is after the class, starting with the class of 2018, who really, was vested in this AAU component of it. What do the young adults now factor into? What do they do with their lives if basketball was the only thing that they really lived for, which is a huge, portion of that young generation, right? So that's a whole nother piece of it right there. But then from the parents, you have concessions that need to be made that, okay, I have to understand, what's realistic for my child, what's realistic for our family, our budget, because, now you don't make some of those decisions to go to every single one of those tournaments or to even be involved with the team, which is putting a financial burden on your home, because that's a real thing. And I've dealt with that myself, just within our family. So,
yeah,
those are huge components that go into it. From the coach's perspective, look, we can't we have to set up some boundaries. We have to set up some etiquette, amongst each other, in terms of recruiting players, development of players, what is, because if I take a team to down to Kansas City and this team that I have isn't really good, and I know that, but you know what? I promised the parents that I'm going to go to that, but they lose by 60 points every game. Who's getting anything out of it?
Yeah, it's a disservice. Yeah.
And so the coaches have some responsibility in saying like, hey, look, this is specifically what we're looking for. These are the type of players that we're looking for. Now, if you want to, have more of a recreational component just to be involved in exercise and camaraderie and the things that come from it, that's fantastic. But we're not going to go down to a place where you're going to lose by a combined total of 1,000 points.
Right. In a weekend.
We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And the tournament directors, they need to temper it back by saying, you know what, I'm not going to expand this tournament. We're going to stick to this format. The first, 50 teams that register for it are going to be the ones that we take, as opposed to taking 200 teams, and then now having to find more venue space, and now having to find more officials, now having to find, more people to work and things of that nature. So everybody just needs to curtail the expectations.
That's good.
And the demand that's out there. And I think those are the things that will fix the system component of it.
Listen, he is Greg Hepburn, father to one of the better ones to come out of Bellevue West to do it. Chucky Hepburn now there at Wisconsin, and Trey Hepburn, who has also had an illustrious career himself, has been a coach. Yo, Greg, man, thank you for joining us on the block to talk about this system error, parents going wild. We're going to have you back, man. So we just love your input and the way that you are able to lay it out and help it and make it simple and plain for us and our listeners here on the block. 93.7 The Ticket. We're going to continue on, but we're going to let Greg go. Greg, thank you once again for joining us on the block.
Indeed. Enjoy your day, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. Bach, great stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, it's just the start of the conversation. I mean, there's so much more that, we could have delved into. Like, I want to have other people, like, I would love to have Latrell Wrightsell from the girls' side, who is, get a perspective on how it works on their side of the spectrum as well. Are they seeing some of the same things? I mean, you're seeing some ladies being dealt with assault. Parents are telling the kids to hit them back if they get set a pick on real crazy. And then you go and, stuff is happening on the court like that on the girls' side of things. So it's kind of crazy on that side as well. And again, do we see this in other things? Do we see this at 7-7 in football? That's intense. A lot of talking, a lot of banter going on, sitting up there in the stands as well. And I think they just need to figure out a way maybe to put the parents in different places, because sometimes if they're sitting next to each other, they're getting side to side banter, kill him, and then and they're going, and then it starts up and it starts there, and it becomes a melee. So there's a lot to it, man. What you think?
Yeah, just a lot of pride on the line, obviously playing, and feeling like it's just that environment that Greg was kind of talking about is, guys feel like they're all playing for their for scholarships and to one up each other and to be better. So it's a very competitive environment. I also wonder, and I hope, and I don't think this is necessarily the case, but sometimes it does happen where, we have seen these viral videos over the last couple of weeks, and you hope that those are limited to those videos. Obviously there's always, going to be scrums and fights and stuff that kind of go on in athletic competition, but hopefully kept to a minimum. But I also know that at times things can get overblown if we just see a few videos, and maybe those are isolated incidents, but it is, I mean, it gets scary when you see the adults in the room, the refs and the coaches fighting each other. And what does that leave the crowd to do when other adults are fighting and their kids are there and the kids are amped up and they want to protect their coach? And, it can lead to a very toxic situation. It needs to be avoided, but it's fascinating to see, the AAU system evolve and grow and kind of be what it is. From your playing days, do you remember how do you get involved in AAU, or do you kind of have to be at a certain level and then, kind of reach out, or are you recruited to AAU, or how does that work?
Well, obviously it was different. Like we had one where we had a Nebraska team. So it was called it was the Valentinos Nebraska All-Star team. And everybody tried out, and you were going to go to one specific tournament. It was going to be in Vegas, and that was every year. It was just one tournament.
Okay.
And so we didn't have a circuit. We didn't have like they do where they're playing in Minnesota and Kansas City and then over into Iowa. We just knew that once a year we're going to go. That was going to put us in front of all the dang coaches that you want to get in front of. The more success you had, the more you got to play in front of the better of the coaches, which would expand your recruitability. So yeah, I mean, it was way different in my time than it is now. I also think, Jake, is the what I worry about is the kids watching, right? It's already to a point for me where there's such a lack of like Greg was talking about, discipline, a lack of respect for authority, because on the court, regardless of how good or how bad they are, the referee is the judge, the juror on the court, whether they're good or bad. I mean, you have to learn to operate within the system of however it is that they happen to be. You hope that you're able to land good referees. You identify them, and maybe you can even talk to the people and say, hey, I would like to have this core of referees in my championship game or in my this, that. You can maybe have those discussions. But, if you perform well. But what the kids watching, the parents acting a fool sometimes, that's what I worry about, because those kids go back to school. They have to deal with teachers, which is the authority figure in the room, which they're whatever in the school, in the system. There sometimes become errors there. I mean, you're seeing so much aspects of that in the school systems, and with the police sometimes, in jobs. I mean, I'm seeing people getting fired just because, sometimes you got a good boss and sometimes you don't. That don't mean you can say, do, and act and show up however and whatever way you want to. You just got to figure it out how to navigate those spaces. And I'm not judging. I'm not saying that everybody, has to fall into a specific line, but I think it does kind of play a part all the way down to the system errors that happen within that space.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, when the kids are watching the adults in the room act poorly, in the stands, I mean that's sending the wrong message. Also, Sway's kind of hit us up on the text line and said, thanks for having the conversation. Also mentioned, because when he's at these sort of events, or when he says he does PA announcing and reffing and stuff like that, and he said the security that is there is usually older folks in yellow shirts. I really can't do a whole lot either way. So it's even if something did start popping off at these events, I mean, you've got a lot of rather fit individuals and in full grown, person strength. So it's like you said, there's so many different avenues and different tracks to go down to kind of fix this, but just the respect and maturity, because you hate to see, as a fan of basketball, you just hate to see those videos, right? You hate to see those things go viral because you don't want that to be confused with like what basketball culture is. I mean, and if it blows up from there and, continues to go down the wrong path, then maybe it is. And you kind of have to think about, at the NBA, when we talk about eyes on those guys, the showmanship, maybe there needs to be less showmanship, because that kind of gets people feeling the wrong way. So maybe they need to try to work on that at the highest level. But I don't see it as too much of a problem. Obviously, after the Mouse of the Palace, there was a lot of things done and tried to go in the direct, the correct way there. I don't think that you're at that level in the NBA, but you always kind of think about those kids looking up to what they ultimately want to get to and what to dream to be. And you wonder there too. I mean, because it's it's courtside. I mean, there's fans close to the court. We've seen it. Whether it's yelling at each other. I mean, Nikola Jokic the Portland Trailblazers center just got in trouble for throwing a guy's phone who was talking trash to him about his parents or something. I mean, it's kind of weird as basketball. I think it's a privilege to sit that close, to sit courtside, and not necessarily a right, as some people like to feel. They got the money, they paid for it, they can say whatever they want. There's still other people, other human beings that will react. You're not special and you're not protected just because you're sitting courtside.
Absolutely. And that's just what it's going to come down to. It's something's going to have to be done, whether it's, and he did say something that I didn't want to get just passed over as well, is that AAU as a whole outgrew the body. Similar to what's happening right now in the NCAA, right? Yeah. That's the thing. You can see it either trickling down, or you can find it crossing all paths where they either outgrow, or the system is not ready for the expansion of it. And so you're starting to see there needs to be a demand put on, or some type of regulation that is put in place to kind of help alleviate some of these errors and problems. Maybe there needs to be some coaching, some training, and getting, some conferences to help people to understand what's going on in these spaces. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I just want to start the conversation. Sutter Heyman text line is always open, 402-464-5685. We are on the block. Eric Strickland and Jake Bachman. We have to take a break. We'll be back right after these messages.
Seasons change, but your land stays the same. You need the right solutions to keep you moving. That's why you rely on Acres Equipment, your Nebraska-owned premier John Deere dealership. Whether you're harvesting, protecting your crops, feeding the herd, maintaining your lawn, improving your business, or letting off some steam, Acres has what you need to get the job done. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and it's been a great start here to the year as 2022 new inventory continues to roll in. A pre-owned lot remains full, and we are selling at a record pace. I was just down at Koppel talking about a new order for myself. They let me know I could actually start ordering a 2023 here later this spring. So stop on in to get your new 2022, your pre-owned vehicle, or maybe talk about ordering here for 2023. Check them out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock, or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batstoRats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
In your busy life, very little is free, but your next home might be a bit less than you think with a free appraisal from Security First Bank. Free home appraisals from Security First Bank. We're the bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Offer valid through December 31st, 2022 on secondary market new home purchase loans only. One free appraisal per transaction. Appraisals paid for by lender at closing. Subject to lender qualifications. See lender for details. NMLS number 505011.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagel & Joe.
James Enterprise Incorporated, that company that hauls your gravel, rocks, and material for your farm or construction site, says thank you to the people of the healthcare community for putting yourself in the way of danger to save the public. That is what it means to be a hero and to build a beautiful legacy. This message brought to you by James Enterprise Incorporated. For all your hauling of rock, gravel, and materials, call them at 402-432-6740. That's 402-432-6740.
Registration is now open for all fall sports leagues through Lincoln Parks and Rec. Adult volleyball, kickball, softball, and youth NFL flag football. Competitive and recreational leagues are available, so whether you're an athlete, a former athlete, or a wannabe athlete, there's a league for you. Plus, check out their paid opportunities for officials and referees. Contact Lincoln Parks and Rec to learn more, or head to teamsideline.com/LincolnNE before July 24th to register your team. That's teamsideline.com/LincolnNE.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket here on a Wednesday. Just had a great conversation there. Thanks to Greg Hepburn and Clester Johnson for joining us. And from that, we will jump over to Steve Sipple of On3 and have another great conversation. How are you doing today, Sip?
I'm doing fine. Bach, how are you guys doing?
Oh, not too bad. We're kind of in opposite extremes. I'm kind of cold. I'm in the studio wearing my jacket and Strick's off. He's too hot somewhere. He's out on the road. But we're not doing too bad.
Are you chilly?
I'm always chilly in the studio. Do you get chilly in here, Sip?
Not as much anymore. It seems like the climate control got a little better in the recent months, I thought.
Yeah.
No, it's good in the morning, Bach. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too bad, and I know that your co-host Sorensen likes to keep it pretty cool in here, so I could see that getting in the way. Big Ten Media Days are around the corner. Are you ready for this whole thing to get going, Sip?
You know what? I guess I am. Yeah, I'm ready. I just started thinking about it more today. I hadn't thought about it all that much, but we're leaving. The On 3 crew is leaving Monday. So, yeah, it's right upon us.
Yeah, and it's going to be kind of fun. Something a little bit different this year. I don't think there's any coaching changes. As long as you've gone to media days, has that been the case? I mean, that's got to be pretty rare.
Yeah, now that you mention it, it is rare. There's usually at least one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll tell you one thing. Well, since you asked about it, what I've noticed over the years is that, I'll tell you what, I used to go and kind of focus on the Big Ten in general in addition to Nebraska, but we noticed at the Journal-Star that people wouldn't read about it. I mean, I could write a really interesting column about Jim Harbaugh, and it would get 1/10 the traffic that a notebook, just a notebook, a multi-topic notebook would get on Nebraska. We just go, you know what? I just go, hey, Bach, I'll tell you what, I'm just going up, I'm writing Nebraska stuff. I probably won't pay hardly any attention to any other team.
That's interesting. You got to follow what the readers want, and I suppose you get Nebraska insight here, but you can also get it at the Big Ten Media Days. As far as that goes, you expect probably to be writing a lot about Garrett Nelson. I would assume he'd be the best quote as we look at Travis Vokalek and Quentin Newsome as well. Are you pretty excited mostly to talk with Garrett, do you think?
Yeah, of the three players, I've written about Quentin Newsome this summer a couple times. So I don't, and I just wrote a column last week about Quentin because I sat down with him. So yeah, Garrett, I'd be interested in writing about Garrett because I think he's the sort of the face of the program right now. But mainly, I'm interested in Frost because Frost hasn't done any interviews this summer. I requested one. I know some others have, and he just decided. I think he just decided it doesn't make much sense to do one, and it does. I mean, I totally understand that. I don't think it really did make sense for Scott to talk this summer much. You know how that goes around here right now. He's sort of a human pinata, and whatever he says, people are gonna. I don't know. You know how it goes around here.
Yeah.
So I think he made the right move just to wait till Big Ten Media Days. But now, listen. It'll be really interesting because we haven't heard from him since spring.
Yeah, Sip, listen, always good to see you, man. It was good to see you at the event, man. What a tremendous event, an inaugural event that we had there at Tanner's Bar and Grill. It was definitely good to see you. I'm glad you had an opportunity to decompress as we get ready to ramp up for football season. But I do have a question for you regarding how right now the system's trying to play out, whereas normally in the past you used to be able to have tremendous access to the assistant coaches, you used to be able to kind of delve into the mind of what's going on there, and that's now kind of starting to be streamlined and creating a one message system, through Scott Frost throughout the season. How do you feel about that? Do you think that'll be a detriment to the team, or do you think that's something that can kind of help with everything going on around to minimize some of the schism that can happen in the team?
Yeah, I definitely don't think it'll be a detriment to the team at all. I don't think that. And here's the deal, Strick and Bach. It'd be really hypocritical for me to criticize the decision to not have assistants available during the regular season, because I've thought about this a lot over the years, Eric. If I were the head coach, I'd tighten it down even more. I'd allow hardly anybody to be available. So I'd be that type of coach. So I'm not going to criticize any move like that.
Why? I want to understand your why. So finish your point, but I want to understand your why to that, though. But go ahead.
Well, first of all, I would say this: the access we get is incredible. I mean, the Nebraska Media Corps gets access that's probably better than 75% of the country. I've talked to sports writers for 30 years. They're dumbfounded by the amount of access we get. So it's really hard for me to complain about anything. As far as the assistants, why would I tighten it down? Because I think it's important to have a consistent message. And I think the more people that talk, the more that gets lost. And I've noticed that over the years. And the other thing about it, Eric, and the most important thing, is in a year like this, it's such a weighty situation. The conversation's very heavy. It's come on, Scott, the head coach's back is against the wall. Let's say in mid-October, Nebraska's 4-3 or even 5-2. I don't know that I want my running backs coach, first-year running backs coach, or my first-year receivers coach, or hell, my fifth-year tight ends coach answering questions about the state of the program and the head coach's future. And I think that's, I wouldn't be comfortable with it if I were the AD or the head coach. And that's what would happen. Those guys would stand there in front of 40 media members and get asked about big picture questions that they don't really, they're position coaches. So that's where I come down on it. But the bottom line to me is, like I said, if I was leading that program, it'd be tightened down even more.
He's Steve Sipple of On 3, joining us here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket. Of course, after Big Ten Media Days, we'll kind of get into fall camp. Do you think, and kind of a question that's been brought up here a little bit recently, do you think that there's much of a competition at quarterback, or do you think they're going in there pretty sure Casey Thompson's going to be their guy?
I think they're going in pretty sure, Bach. I think that's actually a good way to put it. I do think they're pretty sure. But I think that they also are. I think they'll be fair in evaluating those guys, and I'm talking about mainly Casey Thompson and Chubba Purdy and Logan Smothers. You have to leave open the possibility that Heinrich would come in there and maybe he'd make a big push in early August. I don't expect that, but I do think I just think it makes sense to have 2 or 3 guys ready. Now, what if in getting 2 or 3 guys ready, Casey Thompson has 3 or 4 straight bad practices and Chubba Purdy or Logan Smothers have 4 or 5 really good practices? I mean, don't you kind of have to leave open the possibility that could happen? And then if that does happen, you have to sort of be able to respond accordingly. That's what competition's about. I don't believe in handing jobs to people. I get it. We did that with Adrian. There's cases where it does definitely. I mean, Tom Brady makes sense, right? I mean, that's an extreme case. There are cases for sure, but I don't think Nebraska's in that situation. I don't think that Casey has. I mean, he's much more experienced than the other guys, and he played in the Red River rivalry. He's played in some really, really high pressure games, which the other guys haven't, but he's 5-5. So I don't know. I think you got to give the other guys a fair chance.
Yeah. I know you also got a chance to talk with Tommy Hill, and I think he's got a pretty good chance to start at cornerback. The secondary almost, we talk about running back room, the wide receiver room, and who's going to start there. I think the secondary is almost just as intriguing. Do you think that Tommy Hill and Quentin Newsome are ultimately your cornerbacks, and where do you go at safety? You think Deshaun Singleton and Marquise Buford? I guess that's the group that I put together, but I'm not sure. Would you think at this time somebody else is favored?
Corner's pretty cut and dried, Bach. I think it's Quentin Newsome is going to start, and then it'll either be Braxton Clark or Tommy Hill. And Braxton Clark started the spring game, but I'd say it's a toss up, maybe a slight lean toward Tommy Hill for the other corner. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And then at safety, I think right now you go Marcus Buford, Miles Farmer, but the safety position to me it's deeper than corner. It's not as cut and dried, except Buford. I'd say Buford's. Hey, Bach, I'm going to say Buford's pretty locked in. I think Farmer. He's. It's kind of like Casey. I mean, I'm pretty sure it'll be Farmer. But here's the deal: Omar Brown, you have to watch now. He had a good summer. He didn't practice in the spring because he had a bad back. There's guys, I think Eric understands this. The summer months aren't static. I mean, I'm not saying guys win jobs in June and July, but it's pretty structured nowadays. It never really stops. And Omar Brown's back got better, and he's definitely one to watch there. Yeah, you're right. Deshaun Singleton's definitely in that picture. He played like a starter. He played as well as a starter in the spring game, according to Fisher. Noah Pulla-Gates is in that. Those guys are the ones that are mainly in that discussion. I think Isaac Gifford would want to be in that discussion, although he's probably going to be the starting nickel. If they're shuffling things around, I'd watch Gifford. I mean, I'll tell you what, I'd feel really good about Gifford playing safety if they want to shuffle it that way. So they have options. More options, I'd say, at safety that I'd feel comfortable with than corner after those first 3. But here's the thing, Bach. If they started feeling a little edgy at corner, if one of those top 3 guys went down, you could easily move Buford to corner. He could play. He'd probably be the answer if one of those guys went down. So there's a lot. They can mix and match those guys pretty well.
All right, right before we let you go, and we won't get to talk to you before Big Ten Media Days, so I got to ask you your prediction before that. If I give you Ohio State or the field to win the Big Ten this year, are you still sticking with the Buckeyes?
No, I'm not. I'd take the field, and I'd lean toward Michigan. I wouldn't. I still wonder about Ohio State's defense.
Yeah.
And if you look at Michigan's schedule, they're going to win. I mean, I think they'll win a minimum of 10. The question is, can they get to that? Back to 11 or 12. Michigan, I think Michigan's a big threat still to Ohio State. Ohio State, they were an ordinary defense. Is that just automatically going to switch now? They got a new defensive coordinator, a staff. They changed the staff quite a bit. I don't know, Bach. I'm a little skeptical about that.
Yeah, good answer and unexpected because most people do pick Ohio State. So good on you there. Thanks for joining us once again, Sip. And good luck on your travel out to Big Ten Media Days.
Good seeing you guys on Monday, and we'll talk again. I appreciate that, guys.
All right, there you go. Steve Sipple of On3. We've got to give somebody $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings, and because we do it every day. We skipped Shootout with Strick a little bit earlier, and we're going to do it now. So Strick, if you're getting ready, I think we're getting ready as well back here. We got the game show ready. All we need is a contestant. So call in right now, 402-464-5685. All you have to do is beat Strick in a shootout, a game show that we set up for you. Just either or questions. It's not going to be too hard. One open-ended question, but Strick's got the same formula as well. So give us a call, 402-464-5685. It's a competitive call. Only the first person that calls in will get to play and have a chance at the chicken. Otherwise, Strick might win, and maybe he'll just eat chicken himself tonight. So we'll do that coming up next year. Shootout with Strick coming up here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese Beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese Beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation. But finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it. A research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dane has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. He can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Seasons change, but your land stays the same. You need the right solutions to keep you moving. That's why you rely on Acres Equipment, your Nebraska-owned premier John Deere dealership. Whether you're harvesting, protecting your crops, feeding the herd, maintaining your lawn, improving your business, or letting off some steam, Acres has what you need to get the job done. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
The Salt Dogs are back with the best lineup for a night out in Lincoln, including Fireworks Fridays. Every weekend homestand at Haymarket Park begins with baseball and post-game fireworks set to your favorite music. Baseball, a big light show, and the best view in town. There's no better place to be on a summer night in Lincoln. Lead off your weekend the right way with Fireworks Fridays. Get your tickets at saltdogs.com.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear because I'm grilling up dinner. Did you get it?
Yes, good job.
So what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
No reason to check your watch. We did not bring back daylight saving times. It is indeed getting closer to 6. Usually we play this closer to 4:45, but we had some excellent guests today. So if you missed that, go and check it out on theticketfm.com. Greg Hepburn, Clester Johnson joined us to talk some AAU basketball, the problems going on there. Also, Steve Sipple joined us a bit earlier, just this past segment. Other podcasts you can check out today, certainly on One-on-One. Sam Hoiberg joined DP, and Bill Bush, special teams. If you missed it yesterday on the captain, was really good. So plenty of choices there. But right now, we need you. We need your help because we want to give somebody $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings, but you're going to have to earn it. You're going to have to beat Strick in a shootout. Give us a call right now, 402-464-5685. If you think you can take Strick down in our game show, it'll be worth $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings to you. And the topic today is actually running back trivia as far as college football running backs. We went over a list a little bit earlier on the Ticket Water Cooler, so it's kind of revolving around that, the top running back seasons of all time. And we looked over the top 100, Strick. I didn't know if you listened to that at all. 2 Husker seasons, top 100 of all time. And I don't want to give away a little bit more because it might be inside the game here, but kind of interesting. And 35 guys actually all time, 35 seasons over 2,000 yards is where you're at in the history of college football. We've got Jared on the line. Jared looking to take a shot. Jared, you a big fan of the running game?
Oh, yeah, you bet. Run the ball.
That's right. Run the ball. That's what we'd like to hear.
I'm 1-0 against Strick, too.
Oh, and he's got an undefeated record against Strick. All right. We'll see if you can keep that going. We'll get Strick's score first, and we'll see if Jared can go to 2-0 against Strick. Strick, are you ready to roll?
Let's go.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, and 1. This is the top Wisconsin running back with over 2,500 yards. Rushing, Monte Ball or Melvin Gordon?
Melvin Gordon.
That is correct. This Alabama running back is 6th all-time for his 2001 season. Derrick Henry or Mark Ingram?
Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram.
Derrick Henry. He's the most recent Stanford running back to run for over 2,000 yards. Bryce Love or Toby Gerhart?
Gerhart.
That's actually Love. 5th ranked Rashard Penny went to school where? Pitt or San Diego State?
San Diego State.
That's correct. This former Oklahoma State running back has the record.
Barry Sanders.
Oh, that was a complete mess there. We have Nate coming in here. Nate,
all right,
you messed up the printer.
It's not entirely my fault. I'm gonna half blame Bach. I'm gonna half blame myself. So we'll just call that a wash. But regardless, I think Strick ends with 2.
He did have 2 points.
What was the answer?
It is Barry Sanders.
God, man, I was in on that. I said
That was
Barry
after.
before the clock went on. Man, y'all be cheating,
Yeah.
Stricky boy. Y'all want to get up the chicken, man. I'm trying to eat the chicken, man. Y'all
Yeah, I know.
I
That
said Barry
was, not,
Sanders before the time went out, man.
that was not ran very well, but you know what?
I failed my driver's exam. Give me a break.
Nate failed his driver's exam, and he failed to quite type out that question. Derrick Henry didn't play in 2001. I was trying to figure out what year he was talking about.
2015.
2015.
And that's what I was saying. It had to be. I knew Derrick Henry didn't play in 2001. Y'all cheating me and then wouldn't let me in on Barry Sanders. Y'all, boy, I tell you. And then he gonna talk crazy to me because he beat me now with 2 points.
Well, let's see if Jared can beat you. You got 2 points, Strick, and the game has been set against you. But who knows? Maybe Jared will go through a cold streak. Are you ready to go, Jared?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, and 1. This top USC running back is the top USC running back with over 2,400 yards. Reggie Bush or Marcus Allen?
Reggie Bush.
It's actually Marcus Allen. This Boston College running back just barely cracked the top 10. A.J. Dillon or Andre Williams?
Andre Williams.
That is correct. He's the only Indiana running back to rush for 2,000 yards in a season. Tevin Coleman or Von Dunbar?
Von Dunbar.
It's actually Coleman. 14th ranked Matt Forte went to school where? Tulsa or Tulane?
Tulsa.
It's actually Tulane. For the win, he is the only TCU running back to crack the top 100 list. TCU?
I don't know.
Oh, he finished with just 1 point.
Yo, LaDainian Thomason. Yeah.
And Stricky's yelling too. He doesn't want to be 0-2 against you, Jared. But thanks for calling in. You'll still get a chance to win the $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings if you hang up now and give us a call. 402-464-5685. Jared, as well as anybody, can now win on behalf of Strick because caller number 3 wins. Strick plays for the people. Congratulations, Strick. The game was rigged against you, and you still made it through. Oh, you're listening.
Did you see my face? But did you see my face when I...
Yeah.
My face, you were reading, you didn't see me, but when it got down to where for the win, I was like,
oh, no. Yeah.
Am I going to win it?
You end up with the win, and you've earned yourself some shout-outs.
If you don't see on the stream, those listening, you couldn't see the face I made, but Bach could maybe tell you the face that I was just making. It's like the big head blown up. My eyes were huge. Like, I have a chance to win. That's the face I was making.
Well, maybe we learned our lesson. We moved Shootout with Strick a little bit later, and it was a jumbled mess. But still, we gave away $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings, and that's our goal ultimately, and we made it through and did that. Had a great show altogether. Like I said, hit the podcast page, go to YouTube, go to Facebook, like, subscribe, give us 5-star reviews, all that stuff. We really appreciate it here on the block and then on the ticket overall. Once again, we had Greg Hepburn and Clester Johnson join us earlier, as well as Steve Sipple. So all conversations you're going to want to hear if you missed it. Ticket weeknights coming up here in a little bit. And as always, that's always a great thing to listen to. So we'll sign off here for On the Block and enjoy your weeknight. We'll be back for a Thirsty Thursday tomorrow.